Welcome to the Middle-Aged Minecrafter, and the beginning of the Middle-Aged Minecrafter channel, which just might be the lamest and most boring Minecraft channel in all of YouTube's history. You won't find cutting-edge Minecraft news, tips, tricks, or a lot of exciting gameplay by a skilled expert who knows everything about Minecraft here. I'm not a gamer by any stretch, but I like playing a few games here and there sometimes, and it turns out Minecraft is one of them. Before I continue, I want to point out I'm purposely starting this at coordinates 00. So I'm just a boring middle-aged married guy who probably has no business playing Minecraft. Of course, I've known about it for years, but I was already old when it came out. The first video game console I ever played on was an Atari 2600, for heaven's sake. So imagine my surprise being over 40 and finding myself playing it in 2020, 9 years after it came out. But then also starting a YouTube channel about it in 2023, which is about as uninnovative and unoriginal as it gets. I'm so uncool, I'm playing it on an aging PS4, and while I'm playing in survival mode, I have it set to peaceful because the monsters would annoy me and it'd defeat a lot of the pleasure I get out of the game, especially if creepers keep ruining everything. I just like it because of the sandboxness and pretty much just build stuff in it. This game is such a huge deal and I only know about 20% of what's in it and utilize maybe 10%. I'm not very good at video games, I could barely get to the first flag in Super Mario, and I'm just a casual gamer. So the reason for this channel is to chronicle my Minecraft world and let other Minecraft enthusiasts see it. I've only built this one world in Minecraft and expect it'll probably be the only one I will. I haven't and may never finish playing this game properly, defeating the Ender Dragon and all that, because that's just not my prerogative in playing this. Since I've spent all this time building in a virtual world, I don't want to lose it, which seems inevitable, so I want to document it in video while I still have it. I have managed to back it up on a USB drive, but I can't count on that 100%, so having it on video also is kind of assuring. Anyway, the formula plan is to start off touring the Minecraft world I made while retelling its history, as well as my personal history of experience with the game as a middle-aged Minecrafter. I always play with the coordinates on, sorry if that annoys you, but it's an important thing to me that I like and will illustrate the scale and authenticity of the world. Some edits will be necessary, but I'm going to try to do this without any jump cuts and geographical continuity. As I go, I will try and sometimes fail to explain what I've learned and experienced as well as some of my methods, whether they're optimum or not. This is not intended to be a Minecraft learning channel, but if you watch enough of it, you might get a useful idea or two. This concludes the speech I have prepared. I don't know exactly where we originally spawned for the first time, but it was probably very close to here. This was definitely the terrain I remember, and this is exactly what I expected to see when I opened Minecraft, pretty much. Didn't know all of the biomes. I knew there was a couple of other different terrains, so I thought it was interesting that it started me off at the most basic familiar type of biome and started wandering and quickly found this desert. And of course, when you first start playing, you die quite easily a number of times and get respawned somewhere randomly. But after running around for a while, I decided to establish a base at basically the intersection of 3 biomes up here. That's an interesting structure. What's up with that? A desert biome, a jungle biome, and some other, I don't know the name of it. The kind we were just in, basically, more or less. Your traditional North American or North European forest and grass. But we should be approaching where I built the first building I ever built in Minecraft. It's got to be over here. I'm trying to be stealthy about how I unveil this too. Ah, yes, very good. Seem to have lined that up decently. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A very dull cobblestone structure. It was my first exercise in building things. And I fell off of it at least twice and died while trying to build it. And one time, after I had it fairly established, I could not find my way back for like 3 days. It was ridiculous. It was at least 3 days. I went up on an unnecessary journey of many thousands of blocks. A story I will tell you later. But here it is, this unfinished, now abandoned experiment. It caused me a lot of anguish. And after those experiences, I built this crazy lava tower beam. It was a way I could make a big obnoxious beam without making the big obnoxious beam, which requires all those specialty materials, and may not even be able to do that since I play it on peaceful. But this dumb little building is nostalgic history for me, as you can possibly imagine. There's a secret tunnel back here. This was fun to make. A little secret tunnel. Eventually, when I got wise to things, I made a bed. And I don't know if I ever died and woke up in this bed once. I guess that's the way it goes. And this is pretty obnoxious in here. So I just close that off to make sure I don't fall in. But now we're going to check out, once I made it back, I came back with a whole new set of approach and principles for the game. And basically returned to this area via this huge stone line in the air, which is how I have been building my railroads, spanning great swaths of the map with endless railroads for quick and easy, well, I don't know how quick it is, but very easy transportation to all the different places I've explored in here. And this is the primary base number 1, which I don't have a name for, and there's no villages anywhere near here, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. But it's basically a train station. This first line coming in was really the first development, and where this landed basically defined where this base was built. And the first excavation project that I did methodically started pretty much right here. And I went around and carved out the stadium bowl and went from there. Now, since, obviously, I've come quite a long way. There is 3 years of playing in the background here. But this was my very first rail line experiment. We'll go ahead and take it for a ride. And the idea was, when I got to the bottom here and started layering underneath and whatnot, it made sense to build a rail line to quickly take you up and down many levels to where I was storing things to this area where I was mining things. You can see I've cleaned out some stuff in a disorganized way and haven't really gone anywhere else with it, and don't really plan to. I have lots of other projects to work on, so this is sort of just leftover excavation site, I guess. It being right under the base, I didn't want to get too nuts, but then I moved a little bit over and went pretty nuts. So that's the very first rail line. This line was built, but it didn't have rail on it for a long time because it goes off into the distance. I'm not kidding, thousands of blocks. And I couldn't afford to make rail there. So I started with these other smaller rails This is the blue rail, which goes to the blue dock. It's not terribly long, and neither is the red rail, which goes to the red dock. And here we have the green line, which is a big fat 10,000 block circular path, more or less, maybe 9,000. And, well, etc. So, here are my ovens and chests of stuff to put in ovens for harvesting experience and smelting things. And yes, I'm aware that I should be using hoppers to make my life simpler. I tried making hoppers and ovens a long time ago, and I couldn't get it to work, so I gave up on it, and I just went for doing everything by hand. But I've recently had some success with hoppers, so I'm probably going to try to revisit that again. You can meet some of my pets here. We have Elvira, the Katniss of the Dark, and Cosmic Creepers, which is a black cat from Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And this is Pandora, which I think is a great cat name because cats have litter boxes, and yeah, that's the joke on that. So, and here are my dogs. I got 5 dogs before I learned how to control their breeding. Our first puppy we called Pugsley, and this is Pubert. If you know your Addams Family lore, Pubert was originally Pugsley's name, but they didn't want that name on TV. Here's my parrot, Zelda. Don't know why I picked Zelda. I'm not super keen or whatever. This is Homer. We called him that because he did something really, really stupid. And we have Vip and Vap as I try to pull every sort of name and reference from my entertainment and culture and apply them to all the countless things I'm naming in this game. I have achieved, obviously, the enchantment table you can see here. And I don't know if I have 30 bookshelves around it, but there's a bunch, and whatever. 2 anvils, because you can never have enough anvils. They don't last very long. And this is my disenchanting block. I want to get some extra experience by scraping off books and enchanted tools I don't care about. Here's a potion making station that I don't ever use because I haven't made potions really yet, ever. A jukebox and a record collection of multiple copies of the same record. Here's where I have a little chest dedicated to each of my library of books, enchanted books. See, I have lots of mending books for any future tools I need, ready at hand, protection and fortune and efficiency. Look, I just have efficiency 5 books standing by in case I need them. I could put these 4s together too, but hey, I have a librarian who sells me efficiency 5, and that's really all you need. Everything, of course, is a work in progress, and so is this. Look, the labeling runs out, the glowing ink runs out. We'll get to that eventually. Moving on. So here we have a huge wall of chests, trying to organize various block types. You've got your sand and your red sand and your gravel and your cobblestone and your smooth stone and chiseled stone. They're obviously supposed to correspond to what's in the chest. This says obsidian, but I have a lot of weird rocks in here. All these weird rocks I've gotten from various places. I just kind of toss in here. I don't know what else to do with them. If I get enough of them, maybe I'll do something cool with them. So when I made this, there was only 6 types of wood. So this is my wood room, which now obviously could probably be expanded and redone. And who knows if I'll ever even bother with that. But look, I couldn't even bother making the wall. I mean, come on, it's kind of pathetic. But I did make this Keen Bridge, which I think is neat. All right, so this is my color bank system. I think there's still only 16 colors, but the way they're going, there'll be 4 more in a month. But for now, the way I have my little system is a concrete block of said color, and this is the box that contains dye and source material. I realize spatially it's overkill, but it's compartmentalized. And then this chest represents, well, it's not supposed to be dirt. It's supposed to be stuff like this, brown concrete powder. Here, let's go to this one. See, here we have concrete powder and concrete and glass and wool. Anything of that color, any supplies of that color, go in there. And that goes down the line for all the colors as such. And this is a place I'm keeping my collection of bricks. I really like this block, the brick block. Obviously getting enough clay to make this much is a hassle, but I get it from traders in villagers. And this is sort of an homage to the old days, because we didn't have diamond axes and unbreaking enchantment spells, so we would just make dozens and dozens of these and go mining with an inventory full of axes, pickaxes, and come back with an inventory full of cobblestone. Grueling, pointless work from days gone by. So, that's that part. Oh, I didn't show you the back wall. There's just some various attempts at organization that are not complete. I think there's a granite box and a diorite box and some terracottas and maybe some wood products. It's not super important or relevant. Let's go. I want to show you my animal pens because I'm the first person to come up with this. I've seen various stuff, but I haven't seen anyone else do it quite like this. And this is my favorite way to make animal pens. You make it depressed one block and you use glass, and you can jump in and out without gates or carpets or the other methods I've seen, and they can't get out. Stray animals can get in. You just go in there and clean them up, but yes, you can just jump in and out between all of these pens super easily to go through them quicker and feed them quicker. Surely someone else has figured this out, but I don't want to carry these around. Let's just throw them now. All right. So this was originally divided for sheep and pigs, but the sheep have been moved to their own special location. But first, let me show you my greenhouse. This is an unnecessary amount of glass usage, but hey, that's the point, I guess. So, with all your favorite vegetables in here, all the sugarcane you could want, which is super useful for getting emeralds and making books and experience. You can see and knocked out some of the glass pieces. I need to come in here and repair it. It's turning into a derelict building. But the blocks are 64 in length because that's what your things hold, and it helps you kind of keep track of the inventory. When you're planting, you can just run down one row at a time. If everything lines up and you didn't miss everything, 64 equals 64. That was the idea behind doing that. Of course, it doesn't work perfectly, but at least you know when it's going wrong. I didn't show you this. There's this goofy little hallway I made that runs behind the back of the animal pens so that you can study them like a scientist. Are you over here because you want to eat this? Or are you just curious? So let's go let's stop and look at the horse stable. This is the best I could replicate. Old England stable building, whatever. And here's the only horse I have. I had a second horse who was named Mr. Peanut Butter, and he despawned for some reason, despite being saddled and tamed and named. And, video games can be just sketchy like that, unfortunately. Anyways, I've tried to feed him apples and hay to make him happy, but he won't eat it. Probably wants to go for a ride and maybe a bigger stable. All right, so here is the super sheep pen. And if you don't know, you can just dye the sheep the color you want and then harvest their wool and it will be that color. And when they have babies, their baby's wool will be that color. So you can just basically with 1 or 2 dye get infinite sheep wool this way. So I've divided them all out into 16 pens, 1 for each color. There was an early attempt to try to go in some sort of color grading scale, but I failed. Now you'll see there's the traditional gates in here. But I don't really have to use them, and I don't really use them. I just kind of put them there because I might want to use them. But I can run between these fence posts between all the pens. So I just come in here with a bunch of hay and feed them like crazy and generally try to keep them divided by color. And the adult sheep cannot squeeze through there, but the baby sheep can. So sometimes they get slightly mixed up. But the sheep that go astray into the incorrect pen kind of are the ones that get slaughtered, because as I harvest supplies, I trim those down because they don't fit the color conforming thing. If I were to feed a pink sheep and a white sheep, the baby would come out pink or white. Or if it was red and white, it would not be pink, it would be red or white. So the only way to make sure you get pink baby sheep is by having two pink sheep. Anyways, more innovation I'm proud of, designed around my personal taste for laziness and efficiency, so I could feed as many sheep as quickly as possible and get back out of here. I mean, this is kind of a big farm. There's a lot of stuff to maintain. The number of mobs, if I make too many, starts bogging down the game. And then I know when it starts getting extra jittery that I have to harvest some animals. Here is a botanical flower breeding type of program. Trying to get some bees to live here. Don't have any bees in a couple places I want them, but there's one place where I do have some. So this is the thing I recently succeeded with a hopper. It's the simplest of all machines possible, I'm sure, but I had to execute and prove the theory to myself for my own educational purposes. Sometimes that's just how I learned. You could explain it to me, but I'm not going to understand it until I do it. But this is, for a long time, I didn't know about the bone meal composter trick. I just ended up with hordes and hordes of wheat seeds and didn't know what else to do with them, and ended up with chest full of them. But then bone meal is a great, valuable resource for growing things quickly. And so I was happy to take all these seeds I had and compost them, but it got really tedious and was taking forever. And that's when I got the motivation to finally try to play with a machine that would do the process for me. And that's basically what we have here. You can just put your combustible product. I have so much of this, I can afford to waste this here. But you throw that in there, and it drains into the hopper, goes into the composter, and I very slickly built it into the wall here, and your result piles up in here, and it does all the work for you automatically, and you don't have to stand there pushing the button 5,000 times to empty a chest of seeds. Quite pleased with myself about that. Went with a barrel on this occasion instead of a chest so I could retain the wall aesthetics. I think it looks very slick. All right, that is pretty much the tour of the base, except for this secret room. I needed more space for more chests to store more valuables. So I've actually, there used to be more in here. And, I don't know. I'm like a hoarder. Why can't I throw all these stupid leather boots away? I never wear leather boots. I have long-lasting diamond boots with special spells on them. I'm just going to keep making those. But any kind of junk I find or get, I don't know what to do with these things. What are these good for? I don't need to eat. I can't sell cakes. I do have a slime ball. Keeping it around for whenever I figure out what to do with that cool stuff. I have an entire chest of saddles. And this is a lot of redstone, isn't it? I'm really excited that I already have this, and it seems like, what are you saving it all for? Even though I built all this rail line. And you can mock me if you wish, but I just figured out or learned that a block of redstone under a powered rail will power it. And that means I don't need to use redstone torches on a separate block next to it to power them all the time. And I have all the redstone I could possibly want to afford to make that happen. So here going forward, I will be able to make even sleeker looking railroads. That's pretty cool. Random stuff. See, stuff and junk. You can always improve the endless categorization and organization. These are like junk chests. I come home, it's like the dresser at home. You just throw all your junk on it, and it becomes a big mess. Well, one day I'll go around and collect up the like items and put them in the right spots, in theory. All right. I really do think that has covered all of this topic now, and maybe the end of chapter 1. I'm going to show you my concrete factory. I should demonstrate my concrete factory. But I'm going to demonstrate the concrete factory, and then we're going to go ahead and break off chapter 1 and pick up chapter 2 with going over the railway system. What color concrete do we want to make? What color concrete do we have powder for? We have a bunch of white. That'll work. Oh, you know what we should do? We should take this scary bridge and run across this way. All right, so this was, I'm going to just take credit for basically designing this thing. It's maybe not the most brilliant or easy, but I'm proud of it because I made it, and it's pretty easy and effective for me. Got a block of water up here creating the waterfall and this nice little basin, etc., etc. What you do is you run up to the top. And I built it to try to do an entire stack. This is not quite an entire stack. but all you have to do is place them in there. They fall naturally until you get to the top. I will try not to click the buttons on the controller too much because that's probably annoying. I never used to care or think about that, but now I am. Oh, that went one too many. I mean, I could just collect it and throw it down there again. And then sometimes it doesn't matter. I mean, you could overstack it, but if you do that, you tend to lose content. You're gonna, thank you. All right, so let's do it properly. Throw it down here. I didn't throw the rest of those eggs. All right, so now you run back down, which with these boosts, I could just jump if I wanted, but it wears them out faster. Okay, grab your pickaxe. And you see how as it falls, the water turns it into the concrete. So you can just go in here and chop the concrete. And as you do so, the water throws it at you, it drops the next bit of powder. You just stand here and harvest it. I mean, give me a point, huh? Do you want to stand here and watch me finish this thing that I started? Or should I just give up and keep the show going and run on to the next thing? Need to end the episode. But I have, quirky little protocols for how I'm going to do it. And it's important for the next episode to start where the last episode ended. Geographically. I might as well finish now, kids. I'm practically done. Okay, there we go. Now we have a bunch of white concrete. And let's just stick it in some random useless chest along with some eggs and some sand I don't need. There we go. All right. And we'll grab a minecart. And we'll put it here on the blue rail. This is the second line ever built, and the story of the blue line will be the topic for the next episode. Chapter. I haven't decided what to call it yet. Anyway, till then.